And so we go over to the cage, chat, which is like immediately behind them, and he lifts it up, and there's just this giant fucking swole rat just like, and he's all red and he's hairless and it's just, he has these rippling pectorals. Shit. It's like, what the fuck did you feed that goddamn rat? Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Scott Paulin as the Red Skull, and Matt Salinger as the Marvel Comics hero, Captain America.
But now, my friends, again, in case I missed you, welcome. Hope you're all having a very nice Tuesday evening. I know this is still the beginning, the start of the work week, the school week. Again, let me entertain you. Let me serenade you. Let me woo you today. Because right now, chat, we're going to be doing my spoiler review, my scene by scene breakdown, chat, for Captain America. Not the first Avenger. Not the Winter Soldier. Not even Civil War. No. The original. Well, not the original, but the one that came in the 90s, chat. Captain America, the 1990 film. Boom, I'm going to give it to you. More than the abilities, I was actually asking, do you got any music recommendations, like anything except country? Not the top of my head, man. Thank you. Nia, Captain America Civil War. Slayer, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got to get to this review, chat. We got to get to this review right now. But before we begin this review, my friends, we're going to go ahead. I got to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen the 1990 version of Captain America? Very curious about this. Yeah. Vic Hoop. Whoa, Captain America 1990. He steals the car. He steals a lot of fucking cars. He steals a lot of things here. Steals bicycles, steals cars. Chris Ayers, unfortunately. Castaway, nope. DTR saw reviews of it. Slayer right here. Hamilton Burger. I've seen the Nostalgia Critic review. That counts, right? Yeah, sure. Knowing Woman. I have heard the legends about it. Too Tall. I've seen bits and clips of it. Ty, nope. And McCoy. Aye, sir. As crappy as this movie is, I'm going to head out because I do plan on watching this. Thanks, Chris. Okay, fair enough. There you go. You just want to be spoiled, chat. All right, bye to now. Mordecai just saw reviews of it. Be Blessing Gamers, no, sir. Doozy Duck, I haven't. I was like, I don't think so. I'm not patriotic enough. Well, I've made up for your lack of patriotism, Newsy Ducky, because I have seen this film, chat, for the first time ever. Like most of you guys, I've seen bits and pieces of this. I may have seen like a couple of reviews. All very funny, chat, picking this movie apart, mocking it, mocking Matt Salinger's performance, chat, the son of the great American author, J.D. Salinger, chat. He's in this. Ned Beatty's in this, chat. You have some other character actors. You got fucking Ralphie's dad from Christmas Story, Darren McGavin. He's in here, chat. You got Ronnie Cox. He's here, too. You got some character actors. It's like, all right, you got some names here. I recognize some of these people. Okay, it's like, I'm all right, I'm going to give the movie a shot. I haven't seen it myself, you know. Obviously, it's low budget, chat. Was only made for about $3 million. You know, didn't do very well in the box office either. But I was like, hey, let's see what was like. What was it like? It's capitalizing. It was capitalizing on a new trend that started, chat. I mean, Batman 1989 had come out a year before. Everyone was fucking superhero crazy. And everyone's like, wow, Marvel's like, wow, we got superheroes too. And, you know, they went, let's fucking make a Captain America movie. And I wouldn't say they tried. They just did it. They just cobbled together what they had, and they gave it to some unknown like when Yugoslavia was still a country and still around, chat. They gave it to a Yugoslavian director and said, do what you will. And he's like, I don't know what any of this is, but okay. And he made this movie, chat. He made the 1990 Captain America movie. It's reviled. It's widely mocked by many people, chat. Just not a great film. Thank you, Chris, for the 5 biddies. Also made by a company that feels really made up, chat, by it was like 21st Century Films. It's like, you're not even in the goddamn 21st century. I don't think they even made it to a 21st century, chat. I think they're just like, no, that 1998, and they went kaput, I believe. Felt like a riff on the 20th Century Fox moniker, chat, production company, but I don't know. But this was my first time watching. I can tell you what, yeah, it sucks. It's fucking cheap. The acting is bad. There's a lot of unintentionally funny stuff, which I appreciated for that. It does have these dry moments. It does have these really fucking, when they go to Italy, it gets really fucking boring. At this point, it's like, you could tell that they were running out of ideas. They were running out of a plot line. Let's just have them go around fucking Italy and just cobble together, collect all these fucking things to figure out what the Red Skull origin is, even though we already know as an audience, know what his fucking origin is. It's like, I get it. You know, why you re-explain this to me? Very boring film. Very boring third act is all I'll say. The first 2/3 actually entertaining, although not for the reasons they, of course, intended, chat. As I also said before, this does star Matt Salinger, who is the son of J.D. Salinger, chat. Who had a career. He made a number of films, back in way starting in the 80s. Probably best known for playing the character of Danny Burke in Revenge of the Nerds, chat. It was a teen comedy film for those of you kids who've never seen Revenge of the Nerds. That was out there. Did a whole bunch of other movies, chat. Most recently was in a 2021 film called The Ice Road, where he played CEO Thompson. It was an action film, chat. I don't think it went to theaters, though. And he did a ton of TV shows, everything from 24 to Law and Order, chat, Special Victims Unit, and Criminal Intent, chat. So he's been around. He's doing stuff. He's a working actor. I'm not going to shame him. He's a working actor. He probably's like, hey, I'm going to play a superhero. Fucking work for Michael Keaton was a big boon to his career, big boost to his career. I'm gonna do it with a whole other company, a whole other character. I mean, it didn't work out that way, obviously. But still, it has its place in history, chat. It absolutely has its place in history. And now, my friends, let's go ahead. And by the way, did this actually come out in theaters? I think. Let me see what the release is. Set for release on August 9th. Oh, here it is. Oh, so this is what happened. This is what I was confused about. Because on all the posters I saw, it said releasing 1990. August 1990 in a theater near you. The thing was, Chad, it was supposed to release August 1990. For the 50th anniversary of Captain America, chat. But it was delayed in fall, and then it was delayed to the winter of 91, and then eventually they went, you know what, fuck it, just to send it direct to video. So this was direct to video, chat. That was true. VOD. All right? Video on demand. But it was intended originally for theatrical release, but they said, we are not going to make any money on this. Obviously, people are going to fucking laugh our asses out of the theater. Just let this be released on VHS and let it be forgotten. But it wasn't forgotten, Chad, because I remembered it and I watched it, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. That's how it is, my friend. So there's the truth to Captain America, the 1990 version, Chad. It went unappreciated. It did not go to theaters, and I'm going to give it its due today, Chad, the best I possibly can. But, Chad, we start in 1936 fascist Italy, Chad, and we're at the home of the Red Skull, because that's what his name is. I mean, he just called him the little Red Skull, Chet. He's a little baby boy. He's a genuine Mozart, Chet. He's a concert pianist, and he's playing the fucking piano for his boppity-boopy Italian family. And they're like, this is good. Get the spaghetti. And they're stuffing their fucking faces full of spaghetti and meatballs and lasagna, Chet, and tortellini, and all the various other pasta dishes. A very carb-heavy diet in the little Red Skull family household, Chet. But little do they know, chat, the goddamn black shirts are coming, chat. That was like what the Mussolini's fascist police were called, the black shirts. You lived in fear of them. Thank you, no one for the 5 biddies for your suffering. Thank you for the corgi biddies, for those doge biddies, no any woman. Very kind of you. I remember, these ducky members, but the black shirts are coming, chat, and they just bust through they don't go through the door. They just literally just bust through the fucking windows, chat, like the Kool-Aid Man. It's like, oh yeah, it's an Italian version of the Kool-Aid Man, chat. And it's like, oh my God. And the family's like, what are you doing? What are you doing here? And then this is great. Who then climbs through the window with them? Fucking Benito Mussolini, who apparently is like, I want to oversee this operation of adopting this child, because they're there to steal little Red Skull, chap. Because again, all he does, he's a musical genius. But he's like, I want that fucking pianist to be experimented on, okay? And they're like, sir, will you have him? They grab him, chat. And by the way, the family's recording this like on a tape or something. I don't know, some like, 1930s era version of a tape recorder, if you will. And Mussolini's like, so he's picking up all this shit. This is it's a seemingly very important plot point later on in the film, and then is rendered not even important at all based on someone's reaction to it. We'll get to it, Chad. Just remember this. But, you know, the black shirts are like, Mussolini, what the fuck are we gonna do about the family? He's like, kill them. And they just fucking shoot all of them in front of the little red skull. He's like, no, mama, papa, sister, brother. All dead. They're all fucking dead, Chad. He's then taken, Chad, in the back of I don't know, like an apple cart, and he's wheeled away to probably be experimented on, Chad. It's like, oh shit. Now this is different, because this version of the Red Skull, he wasn't like, I just love being a fucking Nazi. That's not what he's about, Chad. It's like, this is like an interesting plot point here. I'll give the movie this. Chad, is that they show that the Red Skull was brainwashed and abused by the fascist Italian regime. I thought that's kind of an interesting origin story for him. It's like, it's kind of tragic character in a way. And he even mentions, we are tragedies, you and I, Captain America. That's what he says. That's what he views himself as. So I was like, okay, I point to you for doing something a little different, for like making me kind of like feel sorry for a character like the Red Skull, who is, you know, literally like, you cannot feel sorry for him. He's a fucking Nazi. I can feel sorry for that piece of shit. Fuck him. But this was like, you know what? All right, he did something a little different. I didn't mind that at all. But then, chat, we cut to a really cheap-looking set. It's like a castle set that they actually reuse for the end of the movie. It's the same fucking thing. And we have all these fucking Nazis, and they got the people from Imperial Japan, and they're all watching this, like, the home movies of Benito Mussolini, and it's basically his version of Ratatouille, where, you know, instead of, you know, little fucking Remy the Rat learn how to cook, instead he's a political prisoner who's going to be executed. Well, experimented on and then executed. And so they're watching this fucking rat get injected, and they're like, what the fuck is this about, Benito? And it's like, I will show you. And by the way, the guy, this is interesting because the movie only occasionally has English subtitles, and like for the whole opening part, it's like there's only one little English subtitle. It's like, killed the family or whatever the shit. All this is like sporadic, like Italian for a good portion, and then there'll be an English. Like the filmmaker's like, listen, we'll translate when you need to know what the fuck's happening, but most of the time it's like, if they're speaking Italian, you don't know what the fuck they're saying unless you speak Italian, which I do not. So I was a little lost here. He's like, I will show you what happened to Remy. And so we go over to the cage, Chad, which is like immediately behind them, and he lifts it up, and there's just this giant fucking swole rat just like, and he's all red, and he's hairless, and he has these rippling pectoral shit. It's like, what the fuck did you feed that goddamn rat? And it's like, look, we put the super soldier serum into him. He is stronger, twice as strong, twice as vicious, twice as smart. We were now ready for human trials. And the fucking Nazis and the Japanese guys are like, all right. And so Mussolini's scientists are the ones who created the super soldier serum, chat. We then cut to this doctor. I'm going to call her Dr. Boppity Boopy. I don't know what her name is, chat. Dr. Boopy. And she's in there, and all of her dialogue is Italian. I don't know what the fuck. We don't know what she's saying. We have no idea. We assume what's going on because she comes in there, and she's doing experiments. The rest of her, you know, guys, the black shirts and all that, doing her thing. And then Mussolini comes in there with the Nazis and the Japanese guy, and he's like, and he speaks Italian, and we assume what he's saying is, I have a test subject for you to experiment on. But again, none of this, no, she's Stanley Tucci. She's basically the female Stanley Tucci character, where instead of him being a German scientist, it's a fascist Italian, female scientist. But he's like, I have a new subject for you to experiment on. And they bring out this fucking kid, and it's a little Red Skull, Chad. He's like, I'm scared. He's very scared. We don't understand what he's saying. And they strap him in this fucking chair like this, like, oh. And they put these, like, needles right near his neck, because he got to start injecting him. And we assume Dr. Boopy is like, listen, yeah, I'm all about, you know, making super soldiers and stuff, but I don't want to experiment on kids. I'm not a monster, okay? All right? I can't do this. And Mussolini's like, either you're going to fucking inject that kid with a whole bunch of weird, gross super soldier serum, okay? Or I'm going to shoot you. And she's like, the fuck are you? And then she just fucking runs. She just runs away and hops over into this window. And they're shooting at her, by the way. All the Mussolini's like, kill her, even though she's the only one that has the super soldier serum. So, and this is fucking weird. And it's a thing with Stanley Tucci's character, too. But she has never wrote it down. She's never given to Mussolini. It's all from her mind. So if they don't have her, then it's lost. And so she somehow, man, in high heels, by the way, gets up into this window and then dives out, which is about 3 stories, chat. And on the ground, it's not even soft like ground or grass or some shit. It's like just big fucking rocks and stones. That looks painful. And they were shooting directly at her. But again, these guys are Nazi stormtroopers. They're stormtroopers, chat. And their aim ain't worth shit. And she jumps down there, and I thought they shot her in the ass, but they didn't shoot her in the ass at all, chat. She gets away, and she's like, she hobbles and shit. But then we cut back, and Mussolini's like, procedo with the experimenta, and they inject little Red Skull. He's like, oh! And the Dr. Boopy is like, oh no, that poor child, oh God. I will avenge you. I will make your suffering mean something. I will be sure to save you. And then she leaves. We then cut to 1943 California, chat. Change the location of Steve's hometown. He's no longer from Brooklyn, chat, not Brooklyn, New York. He's just from some coastal town in California. Then he was with the Bobbies. She somehow swims away from the Italy match. That's what she does, man. That's what she does. I don't know how she did, but she fucking did it. She did it somehow. But we cut to 1943, small town, coastal town in California, chat, beach walk, all that shit. And where we're at this this little house, in the suburban, typical suburban 1940s neighborhood, chat. And we go inside, and it's the Rogers residence, chat, where all of the Rogers family members have gathered because they're there to wish Steve well in his deployment. He's being, he's recruited to the military, chat, despite suffering from polio as a child, chat. He's got a bit of a limp. The thing is, though, chat, so they try to sell you that, oh, well, Steve Rogers, played by Matt Salinger, he had polio, so there's no way he could fight because he has a limp. He looks so, I'll give the Matt Salinger this. He looks fucking big. He's broad shoulders. He's got muscles. He's got definition. You don't see like him, with his shirt off or anything like that. But he looks healthy. He's well built. It's not like the little emaciated Chris Evans we saw in the beginning of the first Avenger. He's like, oh, guy, that guy looks like you're gonna fuck. A stiff breeze could take him out. This guy's fucking big when you see him. And we're in the kitchen, and Steve, and I'm like, oh, Steve seems to be very self-confident and everything. He's like leaning on the kitchen like this, staring at, we assume is his lady, Chad, is his girlfriend, his fiancée, Chad. And he's looking at this girl, and he's like, so, how you doing today, Mom? It's like, what? Who? I'm sorry. And she's like, oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. Who the fuck looks at their mother who leans on the kitchen countertop, does this raised eyebrow, and goes, hey, Mom? No one does that. The fuck is that about? People from Alabama, but we're in California. Maybe they moved from Alabama recently to California. I don't know, and it just killed me. I was like, wait a minute, is this like the Peggy equivalent character? No, it's his mother who looks very young to have had him. Chat. It's like there's maybe a 10-year difference at most. At most, there's a 10-year difference between them, but it's like, okay. And she's like, I'm just so proud of you, Stephen. I just hope you be careful. If your father was here, he'd be so proud of you. And you have the locket with Dad. He's like, I got it. My dad died now in World War I. I don't know. He was a military man. He died. I don't know. They don't go into many. They may have gone into the details, chat, but at that point, I was just so flummoxed. I was like, wait a minute. This is his mother? Then why the fuck was he looking at her? Why was he hitting on his mom? Weird as fuck. Yeehaw! On the subject, didn't mention this part. It happened. It happened. I was like, this is fucking weird. And I ain't no goddamn nostalgia critic. Maybe he misses some details sometime. That's why you come to my reviews, and I'll tell you what's what. I'll speak the God-honest truth here in my reviews, goddammit. Dark Side of the Fight, we don't have some of those. Sweet home Alabama. Just not on the coast. Kind of a small section of America. Very true. But he's like, he has this little locket of his dad. And he's like, and that never plays again. Here, keep it. And it never comes up again. Chad doesn't like look at it later on. It's like, I'm doing this for you, Dad. Nothing. He just, do you have it? And he's like, yeah, I do. Good. And he's like, hey, is Bertie around here, or Bernie? I guess this is this pretty much like his love interest, his Peggy Carter, if you will. Not Peggy, though. And she goes, I think she's down by the boardwalk. You should bring her back before we cut the cake and shit. And he's like, cool. And so he goes down there, and we find Bernie, Chad, a very young, supple, well-endowed Bernie Sanders. And he's like, Steve, I'm so glad you're here. Listen, I just want to teach you the wonders of democratic socialism. It's great. It's wonderful health care. I mean, we all have free health care. Everyone deserves it. We can have universal basic income. Everyone gets $1,000 per month. That's $12,000 a year. That's somebody's rent. Steve, it's wonderful. He's like, Bernie, I'm not here to talk about the tenets of democratic socialism or free health care or universal basic. It's fine. It's fine. What do you want from me? And he's like, listen, I'm going to be shipping off soon. And I just want to give you a big old smooch. And when I come back, I'm obviously going to marry you. We're going to have like a ton of baby. He's like, that's wonderful, Steve. And so they start smooching. Yeah, Birdie Carter, whatever the hell her name is. But yeah, her name is Birdie. And he smooches her and he's like, let's go back to the party. And they all cut the cake. Everyone's like, we love you, Steve, and everything. And then he gets out. He gets out and he goes to his car, but Birdie's like, wait, Steve, before you go. And, they hug and they kiss and, it's just like, okay, you come back alive, okay? You come back to me because I will wait. I will wait for you. I don't know how many years, but I will do. And he's like, cool. And he gets in his car and he drives away, Chet. He drives away. Eventually, Chet, we cut to two military guys. One, I think, is a very young Darren McGavin, and the other guy is just some scheming looking son of a bitch. Like, you look at this guy's like, oh, this guy has ulterior motives already. But this one military guy, he leads him into this typical California diner. And, he comes in there, he sees these two, the one person behind the counter, one of the waitresses, and he stops in there, and it's a whole password thing, because the waitress, she pulls a gun underneath the table, and he's like, you guys gotta get this fucking thing right, or I'll shoot him, and he does this whole spiel or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's actually the same kind of scene from the first Avenger chat, where Peggy Carter and Steve, they go to the one shop or whatever. I know it was a tailor or something, but they go there and they do the whole password thing with the old woman who runs it, and then they go underneath there and they go through the secret passageway, and underneath the diner is where they're conducting the super soldier experiment, where Steve is already hooked up. So the only reason why they're fast tracking through all this fucking bullshit at this point, chat, where it's like, Steve, you were recruited because of your polio thing, and you were the only one that we found. All they say is you're the only one that was compatible for the super soldier serum. There's no reason given. It's not because you're a good man, you have a good heart, nothing. Because this Steve Rogers is not a good man. He does not have a good heart, chat. It's just, you had polio and you're blonde hair, you're blue-eyed. That works for us. And they have him strapped to the chair, kind of like what we saw with Little Red Skull back in the day. And the two military guys, they're introduced to Dr. Boopy, who is made over from fascist Italy, chat. So she's been working with the Americans since, which, as we know, chat, Americans and the Soviets, they absolutely recruited, fascists and Nazi scientists after World War II. Nazis got us to the moon, chat. We wouldn't have gotten the move without those Nazis. Same with the Soviet space program. It's like, god damn, it's crazy to think about. It's one of the darker sides of history, but it's true. But she's there, and we're introduced to another, like, her go-between between these two general guys who are representatives of President Roosevelt, shit, FDR. And they're here to see the process of the super soldier serum and shit. And you have this go-between military guy who has this, he's not Howard Stark, but it's like, you kind of give me Howard Stark vibes, and he sounds like this. And he's like, Dr. Boopy, I want to introduce you to my two colleagues, yes, and all that. And he has this super just, like, weird, kind of like pedophile like mustache, but it reminded me of of the Stark. So I'm just gonna call him General Stark, chat, just for the sake of fucking convenience, chat, sake of convenience. And he introduces the two guys to him, and they're like, oh, Dr. Boopy, we've heard about your experiments. This will be the first one you ever do for the United States of America. She says, yes, I've done many wrongs in this world, but I wish to start doing the rights. I want to start making the right choices and the right decisions, and this is the first step. Steve Rogers is the person we need in the line of super soldiers to bring down fascism, okay? And he'll lead the charge in Italy, chat, because in this scenario, fascist Italy, they're on top. The Red Skull, the protege of Benito Mussolini. He is running roughshod over everybody right now. He's super intelligent. He's a master tactician. And apparently he's about to unleash a fucking missile of some, weight and girth, chat, upon the United States. And they need the best task force possible. And what better than a squad of fucking super soldiers, chat? Makes goddamn sense, I suppose. And so they got Steve Rogers hooked up, and she, Dr. Boopy, she goes up there and she says, listen, Steve, I want to give you the choice that not many other people have been given in your position. It's like, you can opt out any time here, okay? You don't have to do this. And he's like, I want to do it for Birdie. And she's like, I don't know who that is, but okay. And she's like, let's do the experiment. And it's basically like a Dr. Frankenstein thing where they just, they fucking turn the gyros and the turbines and shit. And all this electricity starts going like, oh, Steve goes, ah! And he gets a little bit bigger. Like, you see, they focuses on his arms. They go like, boop, just a little bit. It's like, did he change? He looks exactly the same, but his polio doesn't have that limp anymore. And the experiment ends, and the doctors go and check on him. He's like, yep, it worked. He's good. And Steve's like, I don't feel good. They turn Steve around, and he's like, ugh. He does not look healthy. It's not like the fucking reveal where we saw Chris Evans coming out of that fucking Iron Lung chat, and he's just so thick and swole and sexy and just moist. And like even you got Peggy Carter going, holy Jesus Christ, oh my God, I got the vapors. She's like touching him like, woo! She says, all a tizzy chat. Nothing. It's just a guy in his late 30s, looks like he has an upset tummy and is profusely sweating. That's what we get for our captain. He's like, it just looks nauseous. But then one of the military guys walks over and he's like, oh, congratulations, Dr. Booby. Hell Hitler, boom! And that's all in the same fucking take, chat. All in the same thing. He gets that off so quickly. Congratulations, Hail Hitler, boom! And she pulls out a gun, shoots her, gets a little Hail Hitler in there. She's like, oh! And she falls to the ground. It's like, oh no. And Steve's like, ooh! And he starts running towards the guy. Guy's like, holy fucking shit. Starts shooting into Steve. And the bullets hit him, Chet. We see blood. They actually go inside of him and out him. He's like, and he just fucking grabs the guy's face and just throws him. He's like, ah! And he hits this whirling turbines and shit, chat. These electronic equipment, and he's like, he's electrocuted to death, and he dies. Maybe we should have interrogated that guy to see how he infiltrated, our fucking super secret diner warehouse operation, super soldier, place. But no, apparently not. He's not kidding, folks. It happens that fast. It's so fucking weird. It's like, congratulations, Hell Hitler, boom! It's like, whoa, surprise, it's surprise Hell Hitler. Yeah, very much so. Thank you for the 100 videos. The Return of Jackbox, indeed. We'll be playing some tonight. We played some yesterday, playing it again. And then Steve goes over to Dr. Naboopy, and she's, and she says something to him. Like, for freedom, or whatever. And it's like, did I do good, Steve? Did I do good? He's like, I don't know. And then he falls over too. We then cut to a hospital chat where he's all bandaged up and stuff. And we see General Stark talking with little General Darren McGavin, chat, the dad from Christmas Story. And the doctor's like, yeah, listen, he should be okay, but he's going to need some bed rest. And fucking General Stark is like, yeah, we have like an operation in 5 days, so he's got to be ready to it. We were supposed to have a squad of super soldiers, and we didn't have a squad of super soldiers, so we like need him like soon. And doctor's like, listen, he got shot 5 fucking times, okay? I'm just telling you as a medical professional, what I think he needs, what he desperately needs. But then Steve hears all this shit, and he gets out of the bed, and he's like, General, I'm ready to serve. He's like, yeah. It's like, oh, fuck. And then we cut, and we're now on a plane, and Steve is in full Captain America regalia. I mean, it's covered up with, like, military fatigues and shit, and he's just sitting there like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. He looks so fucking panicked. And we learn that Steve Rogers, because General Stark sits down next to him, and he says, yeah, so you ready, Steve? He's like, I haven't had he's had no training. What we get a reference is he has had no training, under 5 days training. They have to travel to Europe, so that's a day lost. Probably the hospital thing, that's a day lost there too. So 3 days of maybe training, I have no fucking idea. Maybe training, I don't know. And he's like, oh, don't worry, you'll make up for it with your super soldier serum, infused muscles. Also, here's your shield. And he's like, boy, I wish I could have practiced with this more. It's like, first of all, why are you giving him the shield? It's like nothing makes any sense. It's like, it's what your comic book character, just shut the fuck up and take the shield. And the shield, chat, it's a Frisbee. It's plastic. It's absolutely plastic. It's like, what the, you can't even make that look metal? Not even metal looking, chat. Just, you can have to like look so good. Just make it like a metal looking shield. And I know the reason why, because they don't want the actor to fucking throw this thing like a big metal thing. And he throws it around like what if someone trips on it and things. Because listen, they did not have medical professionals on this set. That is obvious. This movie was too fucking cheap. They had a shoestring budget, and they're like, we cannot afford if someone gets injured, it will put us back for months. So, plastic shield, okay, so you don't fucking stub your toe or hurt your thumb or something like that. Blue Hair Gamer, welcome to stream. Currently reviewing the 1990 Captain America, where Steve Rogers doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And Steve's like, so, where's the rest of my squad? And General Stark at this point is like, yeah, listen, Dr. Boopy, she kept the, now, remember this, chap. General Stark is saying this. He says, she refused to provide us with the information to create the super soldier serum, and she remembered everything through her memory, okay? And so the super soldier serum died with her, all right? We'll never be able to find it. It'll never happen, ever. And it's like, okay. So you're the only one we got. And Steve's like, I've had no training. It's like, I got nothing for you, man. The movie's got to keep going. I was like, all right. And so they're like, all right, we're over the drop zone. And he's like, cool. And so they put a fucking parachute on Captain America, and they're like, all right, Cap, let us know when you're ready to get out. We'll take you out of the LZ. He's like, okay, I love you, Birdie. And that's what he says when he jumps out of the fucking plane. I love you, Birdie. And we cut to General Stark, and he's like, that's fucking lame. It's fucking lame, Chad. Thank you. Thank you. TJ So Fresh is back for the Follow You, my new Huckleberry. Welcome to stream. It's a very fun movie to watch with friends. That's all I'll say, Blue Hair Gamer. It's a goofy movie. Very goofy movie. Oh, because viewers, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. And so then he lands, chat, and he immediately takes off his like green military fatigues. Now again, when he takes off the costume is fucking fake as shit. I mean, the wingtips, there's a reason why those wingtips just do not work. Like, no, thank you. They serve no practical purpose at all. But this thing is literally like, it's rubber. It's some type of rubber velvet material. And I feel like it's the same costume he wears. I think they only had one costume. This thing looks raggedy as hell by the end of the movie. It looks like it smells. It's bursting at the seams, chat, because clearly Matt Salinger was gaining weight throughout the movie because they were in Italy. They did film part of this in Italy, and it was just like a bulge. It's like, oh no. It's ugly as sin. It's not good, chat. And it sticks out like a fucking sore thumb in the middle of the night. Because if he had the fatigues on, you wouldn't notice him coming. It's like, oh, you kind of blended in. But as soon as he takes that shit off, now again, they tell him, Cap, this is a stealth mission, okay? It's saboteur. You have to be a saboteur. You have to sabotage. That's what a saboteur does, chat. They sabotage, okay? And he's like, got it. And he takes off his military fatigues, all that shit, drops all the weapons he has, picks up the shield, walks out, and is immediately spotted by the fucking black shirt chat, by the Nazis and the Italian fascists. And they're like, there's an American man. There's a Star-Spangled Man out there. He's like, oh no. And they all start shooting at him. And again, Chad, it's movie logic, so they all fucking miss. And he's like, and he's running in there, Chad. He's doing a bunch of backflips. There's awful choreography. Really bad choreography in this movie. Really bad editing for all the action scenes, Chad. But I will say, I'll give him this, Chad. He does actually punch Nazis. When he runs up and people goes, bah! And he punches a Nazi square in the fucking jaw, Chad. Punches another one in the nose. Punches another one in the dick. And it's like, all right, he's punching Nazis, which is more Nazis than Chris Evans' Captain America punched in the first Avenger. And he only punched Hydra agents. So I was like, all right, I'll give him that. I'll give him that, chat. But he's punching all these people, and he jumps over a fucking, like, truck and a tank, and the tank's, like, rubber. It's like, this looks bad. But he defeats them, and then he runs inside of this really just shitty-looking studio-made concrete facility. It's like, is this the secret base and everything? Where I love it, because Benito Mussolini's, like, in a balcony looking at all this, like, Captain America's here. Little does he know that I have my own super soldier. And we see this... the fakest fucking looking missile I think I've ever seen in a 90s action movie, chat. But it's right there. It looks like it's made of plastic. And who's standing in front of it, chat? The Red Skull, who is fugly looking. Who is fuck ugly. I'll give him this. Like, they're like, all right, we're going to give these fucking nerds the Red Skull, where he has the red makeup on, everything. But I guess in the Italian, in the fascist Italian super soldier serum, it just makes you red and bumpy, and you see his face, and it looks like it's all cobbled together and stuff, and his eyes are like super like milky and things. Almost looks like he's blind. Like, there's some good ideas with it, but the makeup is just cheap looking. There's some good idea. Like, I like the idea of a really deformed Red Skull. Like, almost looking like a burn victim or something, and like the milky eyes. Like, I really like that, but yeah, they just didn't they didn't think it all the way through. They had a good idea, and they dropped the fucking ball of this. TJ is so fresh. Thank you for the Betty. Appreciate that. And so, you know, Captain America sees the Red Skull, and Red Skull is like, Captain America. And he has a super over-exaggerated Italian accent. And Captain America's like, that's so bad! And he throws his shield at him. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. I think the Russos might have stole this. Because as soon as Cap throws the shield, fucking Red Skull catches it in midair like this. And he throws it right back at Captain America. I'm like, whoa! That's the same scene from Captain America the Winter Soldier. I was like, all right. All right, you got some good ideas here. I wonder if the Russos may have taken that. I think that's pretty funny. They want to go there for this. Remember that dude that cut off his nose looked like Red Skull? Yeah, I remember him. He looked nothing like Red Skull either. He looked nothing like him. It's like, what are you doing? I was like, this guy, I'll give this Red Skull that, you know. This Red Skull looks more like the Red Skull from the comics than whatever the fuck that guy was doing. I don't know why that guy did that to himself. He was sick. He was ill. But he throws it right back, and then he fucking jumps down, does a superhero landing, and then Captain America and the Red Skull just run at each other, and they have a really poorly choreographed fight scene, chat. And with Mussolini and, like, some Nazi representatives and some representatives of Japan just going, yes, like, just overlooking it, and it's shot horribly. But then Red Skull, he's like, all right, I'm fucking tired of this. I gotta launch a missile at the United States, and he has like this little like poisoned ring with a like a tack on it, and he goes, Fah! And he hits Captain America in the neck. He goes, Captain America's like, ugh! And you go hear this. Tss, tss, tss. He's like, you are foolish, Captain America, just like your government. And Captain America falls down. He gets knocked out, passes out because of the poison. He then wakes up. And he is literally tied to the rocket, chat, like with rope. He's tied to the rocket with rope like this, like it's a Looney Tunes cartoon. Like Wile E. Coyote just hooked up the Roadrunner to this thing, and he's trying to escape. And then the Red Skull just starts let's like, motherfucker, just launched the rocket, don't monologue. And it's like, Captain America, do you wish to be president of your country? You are nothing but a product of propaganda. Do you think that I can be president of your country, of the United States? Why do you think you can be president, dude? First of all, you're not a national border citizen, okay? You're not born in the United States. You're not born in a United States territory or a military base. So no, you are not 36 years old. By the way, Red Skull in this part of the movie is supposed to be like 18 years old. He's supposed to be very young because when they captured him, I think he was like 12 or 13 years old, and then they capture him, and it's like 6 years later, you know, about 7 years later, and so here he's maybe 20. It's like, that is not a 20-year-old man. It's like, that's fucking bullshit. It's like, no, I don't think so. And he's just going on about how he wants to be president of the United States, and eventually, you know, the countdown is going down, and it's like, I guess I'll never know these questions. I hope that we could practice my English with. It's just like, all right, whatever, dude. Cap, he manages to, before it counts down, though, it's like 10 seconds before the rocket goes up. And by the way, Red Skull seems very unconcerned about the fucking fiery hot exhaust that will obviously come from this rocket once it launches. He's like, I'm fine. That's not a big deal to me. But Steve, he frees his hand from the rope and he grabs Red Skull's hand. And it's like, if I'm dying, you're coming with me, Red Skull. Red Skull's like, fuck that. And he grabs a knife from under his boot and it's like, I will take your hand. And Cap's like, not my hand. He fucking like pulls himself a little bit farther. And right when when Red Skull comes down with a tomahawk chop, he cuts his own fucking hand off. And he's like, ah, my hand. And then the rocket goes up, chat. And again, the exhaust like doesn't fucking hit Red Skull. He's unconcerned about that. He's like, my hand. Ah. I mean, even beneath the he's like, stop at the launch, the Red Skull hurt his hand. It's like, oh no. But then the missile goes up, chat. It's like, oh, Cap, first fucking mission, chat, fucked up royally. And it's heading towards, well, whatever destination it's heading towards, chat, Washington, D.C. The White House. That's what the Red Skull mentions. I'm going to blow up the White House with Roosevelt and everyone there. We then cut, chat, to the suburbs of Washington, D.C., or at least, I don't know, an apartment in Washington, D.C., where we see this kid named, I don't know what the fuck's this kid's name. His last name is Kimball. Little Tommy Kimball, chat. Little Tommy Kimball. And he's looking outside his window in, 1943 America. And his mom comes over and she's like, Tommy, what are you doing up so late? It's 2 in the morning. Now, again, this doesn't make a lot of fucking sense because it's like, so it's like 2 in the morning United States. So what time would it be in Italy at this point? Like, what time would it be in Italy, chat? I'm going to look that up right now. I'm just fucking curious because it's nighttime when Captain America is launched by the missile and it's nighttime in the United States. And I'm like, I don't think they both be nighttime at the same time. I don't think that's how that works. Okay. If it is 2 a.m. in U.S., what time is it in Italy? What time is in Italy, chat? It's 11 in the morning. It's goddamn 11 in the fucking morning, chat. So how the hell is it why is it nighttime? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. So, I love it. I love the logic. And, but the fucking little Tommy Kimball's mom comes in and she's like, honey, why are you up? And it's like, we live in Washington, D.C., and it's so loud. There's so many gunshots, which, fair enough. And she's like, well, Tommy, you go back to bed and you just pretend those gunshots are white noise. And he's like, okay, mommy. And then she goes to her room, chat. But Tommy's like, fuck that bullshit. I'm going to go take some pictures of all the violence happening on the streets of D.C. And he sneaks, and for whatever reason, he goes to his parents' room, and you could tell that this is like not a loving relationship, chat. Like they stay together for the kid because they have. And I know you have the whole. It's like, well, it's like Leave It to Beaver. They had one separate bed, or they have 2 separate beds and shit. But you go into the fucking room, 2 separate goddamn beds, chat. So they ain't fucking anymore. That I could tell you, chat. Not gonna show that on this fine American feature film. No one fucks in this movie, okay? And so he watches his parents sleep platonically separate from each other, and then he goes outside, chat, and somehow, I don't know if this was possible in the 40s, maybe it was, but he then accesses the White House grounds, and he's literally standing on the White House front lawn, chat, just taking pictures and shit. Was that possible in the 40s? I feel like it wasn't, especially during the middle of World War II, but it's Tommy Kimball, Chad. It's fine. It's fine. But all of a sudden, Chad, he hears like a rocket noise, and he looks up in the sky, and he sees a rocket coming right at him, and he doesn't, freak the fuck out, starts running. He's like, what's that? And he takes his camera, and he enhance, and I'm like, what fucking 1940s era camera is this? What sci-fi technology does this kid have? But now again, this rocket is going hundreds of miles per hour. Hundreds of miles per hour, chat. And this thing is coming down, and this kid manages to, perfectly frame Captain America and the missile, takes the shot, it takes multiple shots, and as this thing's coming at him, chat, and Cap's in the frame and everything. Figures if maybe Secret Service would have tackled that kid they would have tackled him, interrogated him, and then killed him, and then replaced him with a duplicate child and given him back to his family, chat. That's what would have happened, okay? it's the camera of the future. It must be the camera of the future. And he takes his picture, but then Captain America, chat, he managed to somewhat weaken the rope bonds that are binding him to the missile, and he uses his foot on one of the, the missile fins, and so he bends it, and instead of hitting the kid and hitting the White House, it goes up in the air, and the kid goes, whoa, and it sails off into the distance, chat, missing the White House. We then cut to Alaska, chat, where we see the missile with Captain America on it crash into the Alaskan, glacier, chat, covered in snow, and Cap is frozen, chat. He's or dead. We don't know. He's frozen, obviously. We then cut back to little Thomas Kimball, chat, who's talking with his best friend, Ralphie from Christmas Story, chat. He looks just like fucking Ralphie. And this, again, these are children. They're not the best actors, but my God. You could have chosen from a couple of actors who could have read their lines coherently. But these two kids, nah, ain't gonna happen. The little kid who played Ralphie in this movie, it's not actually a Ralphie from Christmas Story, but my Lord, he's bad. And they go back and forth because, that's the thing, Chad. Here's the big reveal. No one knows who fucking Captain America is. No one knows who he is. Because as soon as the fucking super soldier experiment was a success and he got out of the hospital, they sent him over to that mission, which he fucked up. No one in the country knows who he is. And so these kids, they're trying to figure out, like, who is this guy? And they make a pact right then and there and say, at one point in our lives, if we can ever find out who this man is, we will do everything we possibly can. And they cut their fucking palms shut. They just go, ah! And they make a blood oath for some reason. And it's like, oh, okay. All right, if that's what we're going to do here. We eventually go through, and that's what they do. Like, they agreed. We then go to, where are we now, chat? Yes, we get that 50-year montage, chat. So we go through it, and it's cheap as fuck. We just see newspapers where it's like, Eisenhower elected president, Kennedy elected president, the assassination of Martin Luther King, the assassination of Robert Kennedy, and previously the assassination of JFK. Nixon, takes troops out of North Vietnam, all that bullshit. Nixon quits until we finally get to the 80s, and then until the year 1990, chat. That's where we are. Where we then cut to Alaska. We cut to Alaska where we see these West German scientists, because this is West Germany, Chad, and East Germany. They were still separated due to the Iron Curtain. Obviously, East Germany controlled Russia controlled Eastern Germany and Eastern Berlin, while the Allies, Chad, America, France, and England, they controlled Western Germany and Western Berlin. We have these West German scientists, and they're somehow in Alaska. They have a base in Alaska, sure, and they're conducting experiments, and they fucking trip over a hand that's sticking out of the ice like this, and they carve it out like the fucking thing, and they take it back to base, chat. And where they see, like, the water is clearly, like, the ice is all melted, and Steve's, like, moving around and shit in there. It's like, if they open that up, they'll just find just a rotting fucking corpse if filled with icy water, shit. It'll be disgusting. And they're calling people, and they're like, yeah, we found this fucking guy in an ice cube, and he looks like he's got the American flag, like, coated around him. It looks weird. And then, boom, the fucking ice block explodes, shit. And Steve's like, he starts screaming. and the thing is, all the West German scientists are like speaking German to him, and it's like, it's okay, it's fine. He's like, not serious. He punches him, and he just runs away. He just runs into the Canadian wilderness in full Captain America regalia, chat. Like, he's still in the full uniform, chat, but he punches some of the West German scientists and just runs. And the one guy's on the phone is like, it's amazing. It's like, okay, we don't need to keep this fucking beat. We then cut to, where are we now? Yes, we then cut to, Kimball. Also, every time we see these newspapers, by the way, I forgot to mention, there's always an article about Kimball, Tommy Kimball, chat. How Tommy Kimball became an Eagle Scout. Tommy Kimball enters the military, all that shit. Tommy Kimball, youngest congressman ever, until he's president of the United States in 1990, chat. So the little kid that took that picture of Captain America, he is now sitting his ass inside the White House. That's what he's doing. And he's having a meeting with one of his generals, Chad, Darren McGavin. Darren McGavin, he wants to cut all these environmental programs. He's like, fuck the environment, okay? We need to drill for more oil. We need more rubber. We got to tear down all these fucking rainforests. We need the lumber with all this shit. And we need to mill more weapons because those goddamn Ruskies are fucking everything up. And Thomas Kimball is like, listen, and by the way, Darren McGavin is the dad from Christmas Story. So it's like, it's fucking nuts, Chad. It's like his son was in the movie, but so is he. It's like, it's nuts. And he's like, listen, the Russia is on their fucking knees. The Soviet Union's almost collapsed by this point. I'm not going to cut all my environmental policies just so you can harvest the Earth's core, all right? We're not going to do this. He's like, but I want to harvest the Earth's core. It's like, I can't let you do that, Darren. And it's like, well, fine, whatever. And so then he leaves. Eventually, chat, that's the thing. So we cut to Italy. Chat, where Darren McGavin is sitting at a table, chat. And it's all these other, like, guys from around the world. And who's leading them, chat? The Red Skull. Except he's not red anymore. He got some really awful-looking plastic surgery, chat. So he just looks like he's got, like, a bunch of, like, skin-colored Play-Doh, like, just smushed all over his face, and he's got this really nasty, oily black hair, and he's super fucking stiff and shit. He's like, ah. And General McGavin works for him, Chad, or Darren McGavin, and he's like, listen, President Kimball doesn't want to cut the environmental policy things so we can harvest the Earth's core. What do you want to do? And the Red Skull's like, let's just put the microchip in his brain and take control of him. And it's like, you can do this? He's like, yes, I can. And so the plan of this movie is, chat, the Red Skull is going to kidnap the president, put a fucking microchip in his brain, and then control him like a robot. That's the Red Skull's plan. The 90s really went hard. They were in subplot. Good grief. They did. Easy peasy. It's like, all right. Eventually, chat, we cut back to the president. We cut back to the president where he's in the White House. And there is the front page of the fucking paper, chat. West German scientists find a man frozen in ice and he escapes. And he sees that, wait a minute, that's that guy I saw all these years ago. And he takes out, because he apparently, chat, he kept this picture in his wallet. And he sees it. And he's like, it's the same guy. Oh my God. Like at this point, like, okay, Mr. President, like clearly who you want to find out if this is indeed the same man. Like you want to recruit him. You want to get him in here, debrief him, let him know what happened. And like if this is the same guy, he's missed at least 50 years. It's like, what the hell's going on? No, he doesn't. He has all the resources, chat, of the United States government, FBI, CIA, the military, all sorts of things he could use, chat, to like, let's find this man. But no, he's like, no, I'm not going to use those copious amounts of resources, the almost near infinite amount of resources to track down this crazy fucking man in a star-spangled suit. No, you know who he fucking needs, chat? Ned Beatty. He needs fucking Ned Beatty. And he gets on the phone, chat, and he calls Ned Beatty. You know what you've seen many times before. He's a fantastic actor, chat. Not unfamiliar with superhero content, chat. He played the henchman Otis in the original Superman, chat. In the Gene Hackman one, where he's like, Mr. Luthor, I don't know what I'm doing here, Mr. Luthor. It's like that guy. He's also in Deliverance. He got raped by those the hillbilly shats, like, squeal like a pig, squeeze. He's like, that's the guy. He's the one that got butt raped. And so he's in the movie, chat. And, fucking President Kimball, apparently, and Ned Beatty, he's a journalist now. He's a two-time Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. And, President Kimball contacts him. He says, hey, man, listen, even though I have just sheer amount of resources at my disposal, I want you to go find the Star-Spangled Man. I want you to find Captain America for me. Whoever, they don't even know what his name is. They don't even know what the fuck his name is. And he's like, I was busy having a life, but okay, I'll drop everything to track down this man by myself. And that's what he does. That's what he does. We then cut back to Italy, chat, where the Red Skull always looks like he's just melting all the time because he got that oiled, slick hair. And we also introduced to his very attractive daughter, chat. Yeah, she's a fascist and she's an assassin, but I gotta say, She's a cutie patootie, chat. She's pretty hot. And they're riding around his limo, and he's a mob. He looks like a mob boss now, but he's like, I guess, a terrorist, international crime lord, if you want to. Yeah, I mean, that's what he is. But he stops by this little gazebo where they sell papers, and it's like what he gets every morning. He gets his coffee, gets his cappuccino, he gets his little baguette, his little cannoli and all that shit, and he gets his morning paper. And he takes the paper and he opens it up, and right on the fucking cover, it's Captain America. He's like, Captain America, he has returned. And the daughter's like, who the fuck are you talking about, Dad? And he's like, Captain America, the man who tried to kill me, took my hand. And he has so we notice that he has a prosthetic hand, and it's like sometimes it's like super stiff. Other times it's just moving around. Like you'll see him like grabbing guns and shit and firing them. It's like, how can you fucking fire a gun with your clearly prosthetic hands? Bullshit, chat. It doesn't have a robot hand. It's not a robot. It's a plastic fucking hand, but you see that hand moving around all the goddamn time. It doesn't matter. So how do you grow his skin back? It's skin grafts. I don't know. I don't know. It's skin grafts. They somehow cobble together a bunch of Play-Doh and just put it over his face. He looks like Play-Doh. That's what he looks like. If they just layered clay on top of him. And he looks all bumpy and gross, and his eyes are still kind of like a little bit milky. And he's blue-eyed now, but he's got like that look all the time. He can't, like when he looks at you, it doesn't always look like he's actually looking at you. It's more like, it's like, are you trying to make, I'm making eye contact with you. You're not making eye contact, sir. I am standing right at you. It's kind of like that. Italian mafioso Red Skull. That's kind of what he is. And the daughter's like, okay, so this is the guy that took your hand. He's like, he took my hand. He did. I want you to kill Captain America. And she's like, where do you want me to go? She's like, go to Alaska and find him. Like, not like, we're going to use our resources to track this guy fucking down. It's just go and do it. And so then, chat, we then cut to northern Canada. So Cap has managed to get out of Alaska, and it's again in full Cap. He didn't like take off the suit. He's still wearing it, chat, and it looks like shit. It looks like shit, and it looks like it smells like shit because it's just all the sweat in there and the dead skin, and the material is rubber. And so that shit does not breathe. So you can just imagine, it's just like, it's just this, like, if he had to take his boots off, because it's all one fucking piece. It would all go down, and then when you take his boots off, chat, and it's just this yellowy, gray-looking, sweaty water that would come out. It's just, what the hell? But he's now in somewhere in northern Canada, chat. He got out of Alaska, and he's just fucking hiking through the goddamn woods. We then cut to Ned Beatty, who is doing the same exact thing, just looking for Captain America. Like, no resources, he's just in a pickup truck. He's looking at maps and shit, just trying to find him, because he made that fucking blood pact with his best friend, the president, 50 years ago. But Captain America's just hiking, and then he hears helicopters. He hears helicopters, Chad, and these helicopters, like, for whatever reason, start to attack Ned Beatty. And it's like, why are they attacking him for? They don't even know who he is. It's like, what's happening? But they like go really low, and they're just like kind of fucking with him. He's like, whoa, what the hell's going on here? And then we cut to Captain America's running through the woods, and the helicopters are above him. He's like, those are Nazi helicopters. How do you know that? First of all, yes, they are. In hindsight, yes, they were Nazis. But how does he know they're Nazis? How does he know they're Nazis? It doesn't make any sense. And he keeps running. And eventually, they land the helicopters, and they take out these motocross bikes, these dirt bikes, and they chase after Captain America in the forest, in the Canadian world. But again, how the fuck does he know that they're bad? They're not shooting at him yet. It doesn't make any sense. But he's running and shit, and eventually the Red Skull's daughter, like, Captain America's like, all right, fuck it. And he throws the shield, decapitates one of them. Shield comes back, and the shield throw is always fake looking. You can see the shield like wobble like that because it's plastic, looks like an actual frisbee. And then Red Skull's daughter, she starts shooting, and she shoots Cap in the arm, I think, in the shoulder or something. He rolls down a hill. Coincidence, chat, Ned Beatty also happens to be there. He opens his truck door. He's like, Captain America, get in here. And Cap's like, oh, and he runs towards Ned Beatty. He gets in there. Red Skull's daughter's like, no. It's like, all right. And then Beatty's like, oh my God, I can't believe I found you. And Captain America's like, you've been looking for me? He's like, oh yes. And Ned Beatty just starts giving him exposition. He's like, well, I made this blood oath with the President of the United States to find you someday because we didn't know who you were. But then I looked up your file. And he's like, how do you look up my file? My file was secret. I'm an unknown scientist. Well, a lot of that stuff has been released to the public. Just no one gives a shit about you. And this is great because as he's talking, he's like, and the Red Skull has returned. He's actually been alive this entire time. And it's my belief. I've been doing an investigation for years into the Red Skull's criminal empire. And I believe he's responsible for the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, of Robert F. Kennedy, and for Martin Luther King. And Chris, I was going to call him Chris Evans. Steve, Captain America's just like, I don't know who those people are. He's like, oh my God, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And he keeps fucking talking. Meanwhile, this is actually quite clever. I thought this was funny. Like, he's like looking around and he's noticing like all these products in the car. Like one of the things is it's a BMW, and it's like, or not BMW. It's a Volkswagen, and it's like, oh, that's fucking, that's a German car company. He's like, oh, and then he sees like a Walkman, and it says "Made in Japan." He's like, oh. He's like looking at all this shit, just like, oh, and this as Ned Beatty just keeps ba, until eventually Ned Beatty, Cap, he's like, stop the car. And he's like, what's wrong? He's like, my tummy, I'm gonna throw up. And he goes, I'm sorry, let me stop the car right now. And then Captain America gets out and he runs out. He runs out. He's like, and Ned's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And he kind of goes over to him. He's like, Captain, are you okay? Pats his back. And the captain stands up. And he just runs straight back to the fucking car. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? And Captain America gets in his car because then he left the keys in there. And he just fucking takes off and leaves Ned Beatty behind. He's like, come on, man. Oh, he just steals his fucking car. Now, to be fair, in Winter Soldier, Steve does steal a car, but he says we're going to give it back later on, which I thought was quite funny. We then cut to Cap, and we get this montage. It's like, I've missed so much. Time just slipped through my fingers. It's going away like so many years. It's like so on the fucking nose. It's like, apparently he doesn't know how to drive cars, or he forgets they run on gas. So he empties it until it's on empty, and he's like, well, shit, I can't do anything. He then manages to find some of Ned Beatty's clothes and clothe himself, covering up the uniform, chat. And then he walks to like a nearby gas station where he sees like a truck has stopped. It's a beer truck, and he goes in the back of it. He jimmies up the thing. And he shimmies up the lock, and he goes in there, and he's like, oh, convenient. And he's like, we don't know where he's going. We have no idea where he's going, but the truck is going exactly to his hometown in California, chat. What are the fucking odds? And he gets up, he gets out of the truck, and oh boy. He then exits, and he just starts like going to all of his haunts, and he's just confused by the future. Like he goes to like where him and Birdie like carved their, like Steve plus Birdie, we love each other heart near the boardwalk. And he's like, huh? And then these guys are like, hey man, and he turns around, it's like these punk kids, and they're like got pierced. He's like, oh, and he's like, you mind if we can have a cigarette? And he's like, oh, and he fucking runs away. He then sees like a woman in a bikini. He's like, cover yourself. Oh. He keeps running. And apparently he forgot how cars work because he's just walking in the middle of the road. Like, first of all, but people in the 40s know how to walk on sidewalks. He's just running in the middle of the road. People are like, beep, beep, just honking at him and shit. Like, get off the fucking highway, dude. He's like, oh. And eventually, he runs all the way back to the Rogers home, chat, the Rogers homestead in that little Suburbicon, chat, in California. He goes right there, and he's like standing outside the house, and it's beautiful. It's not like, oh, it's all dilapidated. No, it looks beautiful. There's a lot of flowers there. Chat, looks gorgeous. And then he sees this car pull up, and where this young woman walks out, and he's like looking at her, and it's like, oh, it's Birdie. It's Birdie. And he goes like, Birdie, it's me. It's Steve. She's like, ah! And she fucking hits him with a beer can. She like grabs, she's holding these beers. She goes, no, get away from me, you pervert. He's like, oh. But she has like blonde hair. And then we hear from the house chat, and we hear this, Sharon, what's what's going on, Sharon? And who steps out, chat? 75-year-old Bertie. And Steve's like, Bertie? She's like, Steve, it's been so long, Steve. And then Sharon's like, Mom, what the hell is going on? And then who walks up behind Bertie? She's like, what's going on, Mom? It's fucking Bertie's husband, Chad, Dad. It's like, oh, an old friend has come back to see me. And Steve's like, whoa. And so they invite him inside the house, and the makeup on Bertie, so the makeup is weird. It's like, everything from the chin down is old and shit. Like, she's all lumpy and everything. She's got, like, the turkey neck and stuff. And then, like, everything past the lip to here is young. She looks great. It's like, wow, you look really good. You have no wrinkles. And there's, like, a line. There's, like, this weird fucked up line of liver spots to go all the way down here. They curve into her neck. Like, you go right down here behind the ears and boom. It's like, okay, I can see where the prosthesis is, where it was attached to her. And Steve's like, Bertie, I'm sorry. She's like, oh, Steve, I waited so long for you. I waited until I was 38, but I wanted to have a baby. I wanted children. And he's like, you waited 16 years for me? He's like, I never believe them. When they say you died in action, they were liars, all of them, because I knew you were alive. And here you are. Ravish me, Stephen. He's like, whoa, Bertie, whoa. Whoa, Bertie. He's like, I know I'm too old for you now. Well, I've always said to my husband, he's all right. He's fine. He's okay. He gave me Sharon. And Sharon, Sharon, but now they'll call her like Sharon Carter. Not like Peggy Carter. Just call her Sharon. But it's like, that was in the comics, other than Peggy, that was Cap's longtime girlfriend. Who we saw Sharon recently in, a lot of the other Captain America movies, most recently in Falcon Winter Soldier, chat. But he's like, you've missed so much, Stephen. It's like, you need to learn. You're happy to stay with my daughter. And this is weird because Sharon's like, oh yeah, I'll put him up in my place. And so she fucking takes Steve. Like, it's very fucking weird. She takes Steve to stay with her at her apartment, and she just rents all these fucking videos in the library. It's just like, I'm not used to watching movies on these here cassettes. Back in my day, we had to go to the picture show to watch these kind of things. And then he starts watching like MLK speech. He's like, why's that black man so loud right there? I don't approve of that. He's like, the times are indeed a-changing right now. Eventually, though, Chad, we cut to Ned Beatty, who has somehow gotten back to his office, and he's calling the president. The Red Skull also gets wind of Ned Beatty and his daughter. He sends his daughter, he's basically, daughter, tap Ned Beatty's phones so then we can then track him and find out where he's going next. He's going to report back to the president. It's like, okay, whatever. And so Ned Beatty, he starts looking in more into Steve Rogers, and he finds out that he did have a fiance in the 40s. Named Bernie, and he's gonna go there because he probably is going there right now. And the president's like, okay, do it, Ned Beatty. He's like, cool. And it's like, hey, Mr. President, can I have any backup? Because we were literally attacked by, like, secret Nazi spies. Could I have, like, I don't know, like, an agent with me? He goes, nah, man, nah. Blood pact. Remember, he's like, blood pact. I remember. And so after that chat, we cut to Ned Beatty. He goes up to the house chat of Bernie and her husband, whose name is not mentioned. Bernie's husband's name. He's just like, whatever. He's watching his game shows, Chaz. The only thing that gives me any pleasure anymore, now that my fucking penis doesn't work, I have to watch Wheel of Fortune. And so he's happy about Wheel of Fortune, Chaz. But they hear a knock on the door. And, she's like, who could that be? It's 7 at night. They know we go to bed in the next hour. She's like, I know, it's Wheel of Fortune time. And so she goes there. And Ned Beatty, he's like, hi, my name is Ned Beatty, and I came here because I knew you were once Steve Rogers' fiance. And he's like, oh, Jesus, sorry, I got to tell you a lot of exposition. And he gets shot in the back, Chad. He gets shot in the back because Red Skull's goons are already there. And he goes, and he falls through the door. It's like, not Ned Beatty, no. And they all go, they barge in there, and, Bernie's husband's like, who's that? I'm watching Wheel of Fortune. He gets shot too. He falls to the ground. And Bernie's like, not in my house. You get out of here. And he's like, we want to know where Steve Rogers is, Bernie. If you love him, you'll tell us right now. She's like, I will tell you nothing. I am a proud woman. And I lived here for 65 years. He's like, we have ways to make you talk, Bernie. I like to see you try, you Nazi fucks. And then we cut. And, you know, I think Sharon, she gets a call on the good old phone chat. Apparently something's going down at her mom and pop's house, and they head back over there, chat with Steve. And they pull up there, and all the ambulances and cop cars there. It's like, oh, no, holy shit. And they're wheeling out Sharon's dad, and he's like, Wheel of Fortune. And he's like, Dad, are you okay? He's like, check on your mother. Check on your mother, Sharon. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And they put him in the ambulance. He's fine. He's fine. We then cut to Ned Beatty. He's like, oh, he's not looking good. He's like, Captain Rogers, Captain America, Cap. And he's like, I'm here, Ned Beatty. He does not apologize for stealing his car. He's like, I'm here. He's like, I knew you were a hero. I always knew. Here, give this to the president when you see him. Tell him that the blood pact has been honored. And he dies. And then they kill Ned Beatty. We then go inside of the house where they're fucking scooping up the mom, chat. What's left of her. Like, just put all of them in the bag. Just like big old meat chunks. Big old meat chunks. And zip that shit off. It's soaking everywhere. And then she's like, no, Mom. And first of all, I feel like if the person's dead there, you wouldn't like hold them back. Like, no. Like, let them hold their mom or whatever. It's a murder scene. But that, honestly, apparently it was wrapped up quick. Because even though it was a murder scene, they were like, yeah, no, get the body out of there. And they're like pushing her back. And like the guy, the paramedics were like, hold her. She's like, Mom. And Steve's like, oh, he does not give a shit. He could care less shit. He's like, oh, yeah. Like, Matt Salinger, man, he cannot fucking emote. Like, this is the scene. His fucking beloved died. You know, he was too late after so many decades, chat. And not even a fucking tear shed for Bernie. I guess not. We then cut to the hospital, chat, where Sharon's father is being cared for. And she's saying, I want to fucking get those Nazi bastards for what they did to my family, to my mother, to my father, and of course to Ned Beatty. He was practically family. And Captain America's like, I mean, I guess. I guess we can. Sure. I want to watch more videos, but all right, Sharon, if you want to do that. And we then cut to the news station. The news comes on, and it's like, special report, the president has been kidnapped. So off-screen, chat, the Red Skulls initiated his plan and has kidnapped President Thomas Kimball. Okay. And he disappeared somewhere in Italy. And Captain America's like, it was the Red Skull. We should stop that guy. She's like, yes, we should, Steve. He's like, all right, well, we got to find out where exactly he might be in Italy. And the super soldier serum. She says, what are you talking about? He's like, well, obviously, Dr. Boopy clearly, oh, that's the thing. Ned Beatty. He gets this out of his ass, chat. Before he dies, he tells Steve, make sure that the Red Skull does not find Dr. Boopy's journal, because apparently, even though Dr. Boopy, she said, I have everything to memory, I wrote nothing down, she apparently wrote a lot of shit down, chat, and she kept a journal. And he says, you need to go back to the secret facility underneath the diner, which apparently did not sweep and take all that material. They just left it there, chat. Okay. Because that's where she has the super soldier serum and the secrets of the Red Skull. All right. And so he's like, we got to go there first. And she's like, okay, cool. And so they get out. They drive, but they're being fucking pursued by the Red Skull, who somehow finds out about all this because they tap the phones of Ned Beatty. And it's like, all right, well, we gotta go get that too. And so Captain America and Sharon, they go to the diner. And Cap, again, he is not very social, because he just goes in there and he immediately just runs to the women's restroom and goes, everyone out now. And they're like, oh, but I gotta poop. Too bad. Like, fucking grabs him and he throws him on the ladies. Well, these poor ladies, chat. But she's like, I gotta do things. She's like, I don't care. Take care of your woman troubles somewhere else. And he throws her out. And he then starts punching a fucking wall. Chris, why you get stuff mixed up? What are you talking about? That's what it is. I'll see your review, Captain. It's fun, Casey. It's fun. But he literally starts punching through this goddamn wall shit. And where it's the secret passageway. And he does the fucking, like, pull the lever, wrong lever, all that shit. He goes down there. Where, for whatever reason, Chad, they kept all of the shit. Everything's still there. It's like, wouldn't the United States government, like, just take all this shit and put it in a secure facility? Nah. Just put some fucking plaster over the secret entrance and keep all that stuff down there. It's like, excuse me? But okay. And he goes down there, and the first place they look, he opens a drawer. There's the journal. And they take it out. And they open it up, and it has the secrets to the super soldier serum, and it has the possible location of the Red Skull, chat. They need to go to the residence with 3 angels. If they go there, they will learn the secrets of the Red Skull, of where he came from. It's like, cool. But little did they know, chat, the diner is now under attack, and Italian fascists have entered it and are going down the stairs. And and we get one of the absolute worst action scenes I've seen in quite some time, just in general, just in a film, last decade or so. I know this movie came out in 1990, but just like a movie I've watched in a period of time, because and I understand why they did this, because it's all dark, it's all shadows, and they did this purposely because Matt Salinger and all these other extras and all these other supporting characters, they can't fight. And so you just see them, like, literally flailing in the darkness, chat. The camera's like, they do that whole fake, like, oh, it's a wide shot. See, we're showing all the action. Not really. And you just see, like, even, like, Matt Salinger, he backs away, and the guy's, like, still flailing, but, like, not hitting anything. But Steve does his thing. He kicks all their asses. He even grabs one guy, has him over like an air duct, and he says, "Where's the Red Skull?" He's like, "I'm not telling you nothing." And he's like, "All right." And he shoves him down the air duct, goes, "Ah!" Till he dies. Like, cool, comedian. Sharon, she gets captured, but he punches the one guy in the fucking face, uses the shield, decapitates him. He's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And so they get out, and it's like, let's go to Italy. And then we're in Italy, like immediately. As soon as we leave the diner, we're in Italy. Now, again, how the fuck did they get to Italy? Steve does not have a passport. Steve does not have a social security card. Steve has none of these things. How did he unless that was air travel in 1990, chat, you could just do that kind of shit. So they're in Italy. It's like, okay, sure. At this point, they're like, okay, we need to go to the place that the journal tells us to go to. It's the domicile of the 3 angels. If you look upon the 3 angels, you will find the secret of the Red Skull. It's like, okay, cool. But before we do that, before they get this little fucking automobile car, and Steve's like, oh, Sharon, hold on, I'm not feeling very well. Can you pull over the side? And she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, huh. And then she's like, Steve, are you okay? And he fucking runs back he does the same shit. He runs back to the car, locks it. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I could never forgive myself if something happened to you, Sharon, okay? I love you, Bernie. And she just drives away. She's like, what the fuck? You stranded me in Italy. Oh my God. And so she keeps on going. She keeps on going. You're like, you not know that Eddie Murphy, that's how many Murphys are. You could have free beer. I'm not fucking talking about that right now, Nexus. I'm talking about goddamn Captain America. So at this point, he then goes to the domicile where we have the 3 angels. And he sees like a woman sticking her head out the window, like doing some laundry. And he asks, excuse me. And she's like, he's like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian. Do you speak English? Does someone else speak English? Like, is there someone who knows who used to live here, by the way? And then Sharon comes in there and she starts speaking perfect Italian. He's like, oh, and she's like, first of all, you can't fucking witness me. Mr. Hummendinger, thank you for the very kind rate. I hope you're doing very well, sir. Thank you. Cheers and salute. How you doing? Currently in the middle of my review for Captain America, the 1990 film, trying to find the Red Skull. Now, everyone, hey, Christopher, again, how you doing? Hard hands, Nia Brownie. I'm doing very well. This review's been very fun. It's been a fucking blast, chat. It's been a goddamn blast. How is your stream, Mr. Hummer? I return the favor. Thanks for the... Oh, of course, man. No, happy to support. Happy to dipping, dudes. Thank you so much for the 69 biddies. Appreciate that. Really do appreciate it. No, thank you guys for all of that. Just in the middle of this review. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a quick break, chat. We'll come back. We'll continue the review in just a second. Welcome again. Thank you, Mr. Hummendinger, so much for sharing your audience with mine. I'm just gonna get a quick beverage. Now, Ronnie, why isn't there a shirtless Chris on your shirt? I'm not mad, just disappointed. I'm sorry, Nye. I'm sorry. I do have Captain America. Captain America. I do have him. Oh, Lord. Chat, I'll be right back. Excuse me. Apologies for that, chat. No. That's what the Red Skull sounds like. He sounds like Dracula. Apologies, chat. Need to blow my nose, too. My allergies are acting up. But after that, chat, so they then enter the domicile of the house where it's this couple that lives there. And they're like, because Steve and Sharon are asking them, like the previous family that lived here, like in the 30s, do you know who they were? And they're like, yeah, that place was fucking demolished and they rebuilt it. But we did find this in the rubble, chat, and it's the recorder. It's the recorder where they recorded the Red Skulls, Little Red Skulls piano recital, chat. And they were like, oh, let's take it. And Steve's like, I know what this is. It's a 1930s recorder. I used to listen to these all the time. And then they go to like a radio repair shop, and the guy's like, I never seen something like this before. I don't know how to fix it. And he just presses the button and it starts working. It's like, all right. And they start listening. Hi, Serum Baby. Hi. But they press the button and they start listening. It's perfect fucking clear. Even though this thing was bare underneath rubble, had, dirt and shit on it, rain, all sorts of, it suffered through all the various elements, chat. It's working in mint fucking condition. And so they're hearing the fucking piano recital, and they hear the boppity boopy, bang, 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 bang. And, killed them all. And it's like, oh shit. And they learn that this was the Red Skull's own kidnapping when he was kidnapped, chat. When he was tortured by the black shirts, by the Nazis, by the Italian fascists, chat, and turned into the Red Skull. And they're like, well, now that we fucking have this, and he also records it. Sharon records it on a cassette player and this is important. They're like, we can use this. Because in their minds, they're like, if we use this on the Red Skull, it'll put him into a catatonic state. He'll remember that he is indeed a human being. It's like, okay. if you say so. But we then cut. And they then they sit down at like a little bistro, a little outside in the patio, chat, and, just helping themselves to some fucking food and drinks. And but we still got to find the location of the Red Skull or whatever. And then all of a sudden we see like the Red Skull's daughter and like another person that's walking up behind her, and they're in full disguises. And I was like, oh, they're going to try to kill, because they know that Captain America and they know that Sharon are here. But fucking Red Skull's daughter just can't help herself. She's like, you're just subtlety is not her forte, chat, because she literally walks past them and she just goes, bah! And she just fucking elbows Sharon. Sharon's like, what? Ow! And she goes, excuse-y. And then she sits down and Sharon's like, that bitch is the Red Skull's daughter. And she's like, no, I'm not. And they start shooting. And they stay fucking running. They're like, oh shit, we gotta get going. And so they start running down these cobblestone streets, chat, being chased by the Red Skull's daughter. Red Skull's daughter gets so like, bah! So freaked out that she drops her purse, chat. She drops her purse as she's chasing after them. They're on foot, Cap, he's fucking throwing his shield around and shit. He's not in full regalia, but he has it. Fooling around, knocks out the Red Skull's daughter. But then he's being chased by more of the fascist chat. And it's like, this fucking car on cobblestone streets was going, bah, 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 bah. And we see these two kids, these two toddlers just rolling a ball back and forth. And they're like, hey, Marco. He's like, yeah, Luigi, there's a car coming. He goes, yeah, it is. You think that tall Aryan man's gonna save us? I think he might. And then fucking Captain America runs right past him. He goes, fuck you, kids! He does not give a shit as this fucking car goes, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't roll. No, he saves the kids. He does one heroic thing in this movie, chat. But the kids are just like, whatever. We can move anytime, but we want to be saved. But he grabs both these fucking kids in the car. hits this roadblock. Guy goes through the fucking windshield. He dies. Eventually, Steve and Sharon, they keep running and they knock over an elderly woman who's on a bicycle, and they then take her bicycle and ride it throughout the Italian streets, chat, and eventually dive over a cliff into the water while being hotly pursued by the Red Skull's daughter and a number of other fascists who literally peek over the cliff like it's not that far. It's like a story. And they're looking in the water like, I guess they died. We can move on, report back to... And they leave. It's like, let's stay an extra minute. Let's stay an extra 2 minutes because it's like, I bet those fuckers can't hold their breath that long. But according to the Red Skull's daughter, it's like, no, out of sight, out of mind. We got this. Let's get going. And fucking less than a minute later, Sharon and Steve, they pop out of the water. And they get back to land. And they go back to the scene of the crime where Sharon somehow knew that was the Red Skull's purse, picks it up and says, Steve, look, and takes out the Red Skull daughter's ID card, and it's like, oh, there's her address. And that's how they find out where the Red Skull is. So this whole mystery of you get Boopity, Dr. Boopity's journal, like, you must look for the 3 angels above the house, and they find the tragic recording of the birth of the Red Skull, and then you will learn his secrets. Like, nah, the fucking daughter dropped her goddamn purse, and they found her ID, and there was her address. And that's it. That's literally it. Meanwhile, we cut to the Red Skull's castle, and he has the president, and in less than 24 hours, they've prepped him for brain control, chat. They're going to control his brain by injecting a microchip inside of him. But the doctor says, well, it's probably going to be at least another couple hours. And Red Skull's like, why can't I do it now? Well, if you do it now, then it probably won't take. And we're going to have to wait another 24 hours. And he's like, fine, then put them in prison. And they put him in a cell. But President Kimball, Chad, he grabs a little vial of acid, which was just sitting right next to him. And he starts, like, pouring it on the lock of his cell door, trying to, jostle it, trying to get a little loose. Eventually, we cut back to Steve and Sharon, and they get in their little car, little Italian mobile car, and they head towards the address of the Red Skull. But the Red Skull's daughter sees them. She's like, after them. And so they get into, like, a really shitty chase. It's not even a chase, chat. It's just like, oh, the Red Skull's daughter's behind us. So she's like, oh. And she turns down a dirt road that the Red Skull daughter somehow misses. And she's like, Steve, we have to get out. We got to get a lay of the land. And he's like, okay. And they get out of the car. And then she runs back to the car and locks the door. Oh, she kisses him. She goes, mwah. She kisses him on the cheek and he goes, oh. And then she runs back to the car. And it's like, Sharon, what are you doing? She's like, I'm doing this for your own good, Steve. Save the president. Save America. Save the world. I love you. And then she drives off. And then she runs into a blockade of the Red Skull's thugs, and they take her prisoner. She also threw out the Steve's case, which contains his really stinky, rubbery Captain America uniform, which he then puts on. He's like, okay, I'm going to infiltrate. I'm going to actually I'm going to do good this time. I'm actually going to infiltrate this place, perform sabotage, and save these people. All right, the first fucking truly heroic thing he's going to do, the first mission that he'll actually possibly succeed at. He's like, let's give it the good old college try. We then cut to the prison, where Red Skull's daughter puts Sharon inside of a cell. She then takes the recording from Sharon. She listens to it, and she somehow knows that that's her dad, who's like screaming. And those are the black shirts who took him all those years, the fascists. She's like, oh, my poor papa, oh, my family. It's like, is she having a moment? Like, what the fuck's going on? But they never. What they do with that recording later on is like, okay, what the fuck is this? What purpose does this serve? It doesn't matter. But she's like, oh, it's going to play a big role. And maybe Red Skull's going to realize that he does have some humanity left and realize he made all these mistakes. We then cut to the president, who breaks out of his fucking cell. He sees Sharon down there and goes, I ain't gonna help that fucking bitch. And he starts like running around and stuff, trying to get away from the black shirts, but they spot him. He's like, oh shit. And he starts running. Like, again, he just looks at this Sharon woman, doesn't know who the hell she is. They have no dialogue, chat. And what's coming up here is like, okay, this is a big plot hole that you have here. But he starts running around and stuff. And eventually he's on top of the, I don't know, the Castellian or what, I don't know, the wall, castle wall or whatever. He's up there. And he's surrounded by the Red Skull himself, along with all of his fascist soldiers and stuff. And, Red Skull is like, Mr. President, please, let me help you. We can put the microchip in your brain. You'll be the best president ever with me at the controls. He's like, you need me to succeed, don't you, Red Skull? He's like, I do need you, Mr. President. He goes, well, that's tough cookies for you. And he fucking throws himself off the wall. Just, like he commits suicide. My Captain America chat grabs him in the nick of time, fucking rips his arm out of his socket. He's like, ah! But he grabs in the nick of time, and he's like, it's you, the Star-Spangled Man. He's like, my name is Captain America. It doesn't matter. Here, let me help you, Mr. President. They get inside, and he's like, listen, I'm here to fucking stop the Red Skull. Okay, I'm here to save you. He's like, well, it's an honor to meet you. I think we've met before. He's like, I don't think we have. He's like, yes, we did. And he has his wallet still. He takes out the picture. He's like, you were on the missile all those years ago. He's like, how the fuck did you get this picture? He goes, I don't know. I just did. He's like, all right, we got to take out all these fucking fascists and we got to save Sharon and everybody else and stop Red Skull and stuff. He's like, cool. And so the president and Captain America, they fucking team up and just start shooting all the bad guys, throwing the shield back and forth at each other. It's like, it's kind of like, it's terribly choreographed, but it's kind of cool that the president is literally having an action scene of Captain America and is also holding his own. I was like, I kind of like this idea here, but it's not done well. It's not executed well in any capacity. And they go back and forth. They fight all these fascists. And eventually they get to, like, the main courtyard area where the Red Skull is sitting in his throne like, Captain America, it is so good to see you again, my friend. I'm not your friend. I know, I was being sarcastic. Fuck, Jesus Christ. And we see that he has Sharon, at gunpoint with the Red Skull's daughter. And it's like, we have fought each other 50 years ago. And yet here you are, as youthful as ever, strong as ever, and me, an older man. What circumstances these are. And he's like, I'm just here to stop you, okay, and to save the world. You are saving nothing, Captain. Nothing. I am trying to save the world. These people, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Robert F. Kennedy, their ideas, they're no good, chat. Thank you, Color. Thank you so much for the 10 biddies. Richard, bro, appreciate it, man. And he starts monologuing and shit. And this is all so they can fucking shoot Captain America. But the president says, Cap, look out! And the president's like, no! And he blocks, he fights the guy. He doesn't get shot, but they start fighting and shit. And Red Skull's like, oh, fucking shit. He's like, come, Captain America, we are two tragic figures. Let us battle, my brother. You're not my brother. He's like, I know, but we are both experimented on, and I was making fuck it, let's fight. And so they start going at it, chat, and again, really horribly choreographed fight scene between a guy in a Play-Doh mask and another guy in a very rubbery, smelly-looking Captain America uniform, chat, complete with plastic shield. And we also see Sharon. She's, like, slapping the shit out of Red Skull's daughter and President Kimball. He's beating the shit out of this guy. He's like, gouges that one guy. He's like, ah! Gouges this one guy's eyes out, and he throws him down like this chute, and he uses Captain America's shield to, like, block all these bullets. Like, President's doing a pretty good job. Eventually, though, Red Skull, he fucking just grabs his gun. He takes off fucking running, chat. He's like, fuck this. I gotta go. And Captain America's in hot pursuit. He's running after him. It's like an MP5, so he's constantly shooting behind him like, ah! And shit. Eventually, he gets to outside of on top of this giant wall where a piano, for whatever reason, on this large wall, on this this tower, this open tower, they have a piano just there. And he goes over to it and he grabs this, looks like a brooch that's inside, in front of the piano where the keys are. He grabs it and he presses a button. He's like, Captain America, we are 2 men out of time. And it looks like our time has run out. And Captain America's like, oh, Jesus Christ. It's like, here, I have already deactivated. My plans have failed me. But with this device, beneath the very stones your feet now rest, Captain America, is tons and tons of nuclear material ready to be set off. It will destroy all of Southern Europe, making most of Europe, Africa, the Middle East, inhospitable for the next, let's say, 125 years. Captain America's like, don't do it, Red Skull. He's like, do not tell me what to do. Everyone tells me what to do. You not telling me. But then, for whatever reason, this is fucking weird. The Red Skull's daughter is like, she goes over there and Sharon's there too and shit. She's like, they're all like, oh, fuck. Because, they start fighting and the Red Skull starts shooting at like both of them or Sharon really. And they're like, oh shit, they all duck. And Sharon drops the recording, or Red Skull's daughter drops the recording. And Captain America's like, oh shit, Sharon, grab it. And Sharon hits the button and it starts playing the thing, like from all those years ago. And Red Skull's daughter takes it and she takes it to her father and she's like, Papa, listen. And he hears the piano, him playing. He's like, I remember this. I remember my mama, my father, what they did to me. And he hears all this. It's like, oh, he's having a moment. He's having a goddamn moment here. He's going to realize what I'm doing is wrong. And he's like, meh. He's like, oh, well, and he just drops it. He's like, well, it doesn't fucking matter. We have the last 5 minutes of the movie. He just drops it on the ground, and he's like, I've made my decision. And Captain America, apparently that's all Captain America was waiting for. It was just like, he's distracted maybe, and he runs up, and he's like, Captain America's like, not if I have anything to say about a Red Skull. It's like, what? And he throws the shield at him, and Red Skull's like, no! And he gets hit by the shield, and he goes off the cliff and goes, bong, bong, bing, bong, boom, and just dies. But then the Red Skull's daughter, she's like, you killed my father. Prepare to die. And Captain America's like, heads up, because the shield, like, loops around, and then she's like, oh, and it fucking decapitates her. And then he fucking grabs the shield and does and just walks away. Just this weird fucking like at the camera. It's like, all right. Thank you, by the way. Thank you to with the buddies. Red Skull didn't have to try so hard. It was that was the case. At least for the Middle East, yeah. And then he fucking gets Sharon and they walk over and the president called, I don't know, NATO or some shit. So they sent a bunch of troops over there right at the last minute. Oh, by the way, this is what's so confusing. This is what doesn't make any sense. So Red Skull has activated a device that's counting down. And it's going to explode like in a minute. And yet Captain America hits him and he falls over, but the detonator's still going off. What about the detonator? Did they just forget? Did the detonator just stop? Was it connected to his heart? Like, nothing makes any sense. Like, what about there's a lot of nuclear material. Where'd the detonator go? Like, no one cared. It doesn't matter. It literally, like, they just forgot they had it in, I think they just forgot they had it in the scene. I don't think they have any idea. They're like, oh, yeah, he started the countdown, and, yeah, we forgot. And so it's like, okay. And then we cut to, President Kimball's like, Captain America, thank you for what you did. You'll never be forgotten. He's like, thank you, Mr. President. And he has a fucking thumbs up chat. And then we cut, and where we hear this news footage playing now, this radio, where we see Captain America, like, Matt Salinger standing like this, and it goes to, like, the comic book image of Captain America. And so the Star-Spangled Man, Captain America, Captain Rogers, he somehow had survived his time in suspended animation for 50 years and has come back to finish the job, defeat the fascist Nazi threat. And wherever you may be now, Captain America, we Americans, the world, salutes you. And so he just ran away again. And that's it. And I guess him and Sharon got, I don't know. And then that's it, Sharon. That, my friends, is 1990s Captain America. The end. And a franchise was not born. Instead, chat, it died. It died. Who cares? The bad guys said all their plot points are knocked down. As soon as he dies, like, no, it doesn't matter anymore. There you go. It was weird. It was weird. Oh. All right. You can get rid of Dark Web Bridge. I'm going to ban you. Posting random shit for no goddamn reason. In your opinion, is it worth for at least a bad movie? No. Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Chris Harris. Thank you, good sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, Brownie. Oh. Thank you, one five. No, John Elfman. Thank you. Thank you again for the 5 biddies. The day is saved thanks to Captain America. Indeed. Oh, Lord. Thank you guys for all the incredible support. I hope you enjoyed the review. Thumbs up, soldier. Indeed. It was a good time. I was wondering why the assassins look like models. God, man, that was a product of the 80s. That's why all the fucking the assassins and terrorists and Die Hard look like models, because they were. Joshua, thank you for the 100 biddies. Good sir, my heart's a pitter-patter as we take. Oh, chat. Getting close to another movie poll right now. Less than 400 biddies away. We were 310 biddies away. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing review. Thank you so much, Alex Brown. Divine Miss Klein. Good to see you. My heart's a pitter-patter. Thank you for the 100 biddies. And guys, for all the support. So, yeah, reviewing the shitty Captain America movie. Indeed. And I'll be doing another one tomorrow. I'll be doing Captain America, the 1970s version, which I've never seen before. I've only seen clips of this movie before. I watched it in its full context. And by the way, chat, again, just to let you guys know, if you are indeed, if you like this review, well, you got of course, OnlyFans. But if you like this review, chat, my most recent audio and soon-to-be video commentary is for Captain America, the 1990 film. This film is free on YouTube right now, so you can download it, and you'll be golden. You can have it forever. I have it forever. There it is. So if you like my review, please do check out my $2 commentary at that $2 tier level. It's pretty good. The 70 version also free on YouTube. That I don't know. I saw I had to buy it on YouTube. Actually, it might be good to look it up. Giant Elephant, thank you so much for the 20 biddies. I haven't watched the 70s, so I got to watch it either tonight or tomorrow morning. This is where I usually watch all my movie reviews, or I got to do commentaries in between all this stuff. So let me see, actually, if it's available. I did not see, I saw I had to pay for it on YouTube, but it might be on another platform. Captain America. Now I had to say it like that. 1970s. Let's see here, chat. Stream. Let's see. I'm only putting streaming. 1979. Let's see what we got here, chat. Apparently, it's on Tubi for free, but that has ads. Amazon Prime, although I gotta pay money for it. $4, chat. I'm gonna have to do that then. That's how I'm gonna have to do it. Do zero ads. The thing is, like, if I'm gonna do like a commentary for the movie, then I can't have the ads be a part of it because that could because ads pop up randomly for people. So I'll probably have to buy it or rent it for $4, which is fine. I don't mind that. That's okay. It's inexpensive. Hour and 38 minutes, chat. That's a terrible movie. Looks at the room, look Oscar-worthy. God damn. Yeah. God dang it. That'd be fine. Now it'll be good, chat. I've never seen this before. It looks. I'm watching a trailer for this. Just playing it when some of these actors look familiar. It looks rough. It looks rough to say the least. I think I'll make for a fun review and commentary. Looking forward to it, chat. Boom. So I'll probably rent it via Amazon and watch it that way. In the meantime, my friends, I am just going to go ahead and refresh my beverage again. Thank you for all the hype. Thank you for all your generosity, chat. I'm going to refresh my beverage. Then I'm going to come back. We're going to do a movie poll, and then we'll start playing some Mass Effect 3, chat. Getting some single-player shenanigans. So, please entertain yourselves as much as yourselves shall. I'll be right back. Stick around.